This is a show for grown-ups.
And they say bad words.
And they say bad words.
Say final warning.
Final warning.
Hello and welcome to the Pod of Blunders. I am your host, Nate Magnuski, and with me as always is my co-host, Richard Sullivan. But like in the past, because this is part 2 of our exciting conclusion. Well, I guess it's not part 2 of our conclusion, is it? It's part 2, which is the conclusion. Yeah, nailing it. Professionalism all the way. Anyway, this is part 2, aka the conclusion of our Spelljammer actual play run by Conan Librarian and made more awesome by the inclusion of our buddy Eric. So take it away, past us.
At this point, the rate that your ship can travel, it's going to take you a couple days to get back to Brawl, the floating city here on the Astral Sea. In that time, you have time to rest. Doc does his best, Sprocket, excuse me, does his best to patch you up, and you guys rest and heal up. You have the relic. You're taking it back to Sal. You, Nate, said that Avorn is not a good guy. I'm not going to assume that about the other two of you, but I am going to ask. Sal is not a good guy, but what do you owe him? How much do you owe him? What does he have on you, or what does he have that he has promised you or that you need? Why are you doing these jobs for this guy? We're going to kind of go around. We'll start with Avorn. Why are you working for this dude?
When I needed to get off planet, or off plane, to get away from the hag that raised me, Sal was the one that actually was like, yeah, no, I'll take you on, but you're going to owe me. And I didn't know what that meant at the time. Now I'm wondering if it was worth it. But until I find another solution to this, I'm Sal's from now on.
Okay, I like it. That makes sense. Mongo, what about you? Now, something I will say too, Sal, he's not only a shady character, but Sal does have a lot of power. The local law enforcement think of him as just a small-time fence. But you know that he is a collector of rare and exotic goods, that he has a large network of connections in various establishments, communities, and business dealings. If he has promised you something you need or want, there's a very good chance he could get it. And if he has threatened you in a certain way or someone you love, there's a 100% chance that he can back it up.
What does Mongo want?
To not be pawn in Game of Life.
Now, if you want to think, we can go also to Beth. I know I'm throwing you out on the spot here.
Well, that's kind of the whole point.
It is. I like that. Grab it by the horns.
Yeah. What if I just like doing this shit, man? Like, what if he's just paying me because I'm the big heavy?
I like it.
I don't have anything to gain. It's just it's all I know how to do. And if he's willing to pay me for it, the fuck?
So it's what he knows, and it's good money. I mean, it makes sense. That's the point of being a heavy mercenary, is someone pays you and you go smash and kill stuff. Biff, what about you?
So I stumbled into all of this. Like, this is like the fight. Fighting is not my forte, clearly, as a squishy gob of goo that is a sorcerer. And I've got the clockwork pact. So it's literally like when I'm doing some of my spells, you see like little gears kind of form up around me as like I'm working on things.
Very cool.
But for me, like when we go out, like I went out on one on accident, kind of like stumbled upon it, and he was like, "Hey, do you want, like, I need some help going out to do this thing and find me this piece of like this artifact or this thing." And sometimes I steal shit from him. Sometimes, like we go out on missions, it's like, "Oh, I didn't find the thing. I'm so sorry." But like I pocket like small things of interest. I've towed that line of like knowing not to take too much, but like being able to add to my own collection of like magical items and whatnots.
So you're skimming.
Mm-hmm. But I've got like super good charisma, and I'm just very like likable. So he probably knows I'm doing it, but like I get by because
You're not taking too much.
Right.
Well, I will say, in the meantime, while you're also making this trip back, you guys do a little bit of reading up. Mm-hmm. There is a small manual of the planes and a couple books on this ship, and most Spelljammers have it. It's essentially just general information about the planes. It also, because this is one of Sal's ships, has some information about his specific dealings with some certain groups, people, businesses, because if Sal is going to send out essentially money, he's sending his people, he's sending a ship, he's spending resources, he wants you guys to know what's going on. These Sirlons, you read a little bit in one of these books, and Sprocket kind of fills you in a little bit too. He has heard a little bit about these Sirlons. This thing that was on this ship, he thinks it's called a Sirlon ringer. And a Sirlon ringer, well, this ritual they cast, this thing they were doing, a ringer consumes and then takes the form of other people. Now, it's a serious dedication on the part of a Sirlon. Literally, the only way to reverse this transformation is with a wish spell. So while they are still technically a monstrosity and a Sirlon, they become this other creature. They also, with this, obtain their knowledge and their skill set. So they are still themselves, but they've absorbed this person that they consume, and they become this person. So in general, it's a way that they use, they use this as a tactic and a tool to invade. Like I said, they leave their home plane only so often, and this is a way that they then essentially make their attack. They grab someone from this community or this plane they're going to devour, they infiltrate and then attack from the inside, or at least set them up for failure. As far as what happened to this thing, Sprocket has no clue what the hell that was. The fact that it turned from a Sirlon into something else sounds like a ringer, but whatever happened next, he does not know what that is.
So the fact that he turned into a dryad leaves Avorn to believe, as he's an elf, that they're trying to target the Feywild. We're trying to go there next. So I imagine us all sitting around like the mess hall, having our various beverages and stuff. And I'm handling this device and I'm like talking through my theories.
If anyone wants to give me an Arcana, and this is definitely Arcana or religion or any sort of magic skill check to try to figure out, or if there's a spell you might have, any way to identify what this relic thing is exactly.
Yeah, I got a 20 on Arcana. I have Detect Magic.
Oh, do you? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to cast that as well?
Absolutely.
Cool. You cast Detect Magic, and you black out. This thing, whatever it is, you guys are sitting in the mess hall, and but it says, here, let me take a look. Bonk. He hits the table, and being a plasmoid, he doesn't just like hit the table. He splashes like you've spilled a glass of water. Your kid spills a small cup, and it's a gallon of water all of a sudden. That's what happens to him as he just blacks out, turns into a puddle everywhere all over the mess for a second before regaining consciousness. I will say, unfortunately, you don't know what this is per se, but whatever this is way too powerful to be messing around with like a level 2 abjuration spell, right? The Arcana, you're a little more careful. Like I said, you have a couple days to get back. What you get from it, you think this might be what's called a docent. Now, a docent is a piece of ancient arcana tech, mostly used by Warforged, and they would contain information, they would contain power. Essentially, docents were used to both pass information from Warforged to Warforged, as well as essentially upgrade the Warforged with different abilities or languages or even just power. So it's a super information thing. However, whatever this is, if this is a docent, it is very powerful. I will say it is beyond you for exactly what it is, but you have an idea. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I will say you also are slightly scared of it. This is not an object you want to skim, and you'll be pretty happy to get it out of your hands.
I think I would also be concerned about handing it to Sal. So I'm like looking at the two of you, be like, I don't know if I told anyone before I started trying to detect magic on it.
I like the idea that you didn't, that you're like, here, let me...
I don't think I would have. I feel like I kind of do, like, I work with these two, but I'm not, like, BFFs with them. I kind of just, like, do my own thing. And so I kind of pop up and I'm like, so try detecting magic, caused me to black out, as you might have seen. Little embarrassed. Don't usually splooge like that in front of people. Sorry.
Not in public, at least.
Not in public and not without your consent. That's important. This is very fucking powerful. And you all know Sal better than I do. I have a lot more questions than what makes me comfortable right now.
So the two of you, it does sound, especially Avorn, since you've been around him for a while then, if he tells you he thinks it's a docent, Sal has a couple docents as it is. You know that this is kind of Sal's thing. He likes docents. Among other stuff, because he's a collector, he's always on the lookout for another docent. He uses them, he absorbs them, he plays with them. Like, of all the things he likes to collect, docents are his favorite. As you begin to get closer to the city here, there is one last night, and the three of you are sleeping or trancing or jellied. I imagine a plasmoid sleeps in like a jar. I don't know if you fall asleep in your regular form or if you turn into like a goop pile.
Yeah, I'm probably just like little puddle on the bed.
I'm thinking Odo from Deep Space Nine. Yeah.
Okay, so you get a bucket, a nice bucket.
A nice bucket. I'd say it's a boss. A very nice.
Yeah.
You have a space boss.
Because for the most part, like my like the plasmoid like hold like I generally retain my thing. Like I can fit through space that's like an inch big,
Nice.
but like I generally like that. It like my amoeba shape is like held.
Is that your come on? Like, hey, babe.
I can fit 1 inch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, the three of you all have a dream, and in it, this sphere is floating. And as you see this sphere floating in this white space, that same light that it spilled over on the ship, you see this dryad woman float up from this space. And she stares at you for a moment, puts her hands on this relic, and then you wake up. And you are at the City of Brawl, this large floating metropolis here in the Astral Sea. Now, there are a lot of really cool things here in Brawl, and if this wasn't a one-shot, I'd have all sorts of stuff for you to do. But instead, you are headed off to the Rock Rat Tavern in one of the seedier, rundown spots in town. Sal likes to operate out of a pretty rundown establishment just so that way, again, he can fly under the radar. That's what he likes to do. And as you enter the Rock Rat, there are more than several crew there, and you might even know some of them personally. You may have worked some jobs with them, but there are a few crew members there that work his other jobs or his other ships. And as you enter, Sal comes from this back booth, and he says, "Hey, go get the ship ready. We'll be taking off soon." Now, Sprocket had entered with you, takes the command, and ushers out with the other crew members. He's not quite Sal's right-hand man, but he is, in fact, one of his main stewards. Now, Sal sees you. He gets what you could consider a smile on a Warforged face and motions you back to his usual booth. Now, as you enter back there, you see Sal. Sal is a Warforged. He has fashioned himself long dreadlocks of copper and metallic wiring. He's even welded a goatee to his face. He has almost a carefree look that he's very well manicured because as a Warforged, he can't really style himself aside from essentially manufacturing an appearance besides the clothes he wears. What he's also wearing around his neck is the key to the Ink Knight. Now, as much as you like Sal, and maybe you do, or as much as you dislike him, and maybe you do, this ship, the Ink Knight, it's a squid ship, and it is well known to be one of the fastest, toughest ships in this part of the Astral Sea. Now, you know that initially because he never shuts the fuck up about it, and he wears the key in this, like, glass case around his neck. But you actually do know for a fact that as much as he brags about it, it is well-founded. It is one of the fastest ships known, and it is super tough for the type of ship that it is. One of these squid ships, essentially what it sounds like, this squid-shaped ship that's able to land in both water, land, it can navigate easily. It has wicked, sharp, piercing weapons and ballistas. It's a badass ship. And he sees you guys. He invites you to sit down in this booth. First thing he does is he holds out his hand, not in like a, hey, how you doing? But like, hey, where's my stuff kind of gesture.
I pull it out from under my breechcloth and I plop it most sweatily into his hand.
Great.
I have a 7 charisma.
Sal knows you well enough by now that that's not unusual. He knows that you are one of the most uncharismatic people he's ever met. But you're efficient, and that's all he really cares about. So you guys sit down. You give him, I'm not sure what a breechcloth is, but you give him the sweat-covered relic is what it sounds like. He sits down. He says, well, fellas, it's about fucking time. I've been waiting days. I already got reports. You're going to owe me a little bit extra on this ship out here. I heard it's missing some parts. Got some damage. Is that right?
The job was not what you fucking told us it would be, you asshole.
Just because I said get the relic, I don't want you to think that it means do it however you want. You get rid of your own shit. You break your swords, you tear your clothes, you do whatever you want. But if you're going to damage my equipment, it means that you are going to pay me, and I am going to keep more of what I was going to pay you. I think that sounds fair.
I mean, we got you the docet, and your ship didn't end up in. Hold up. We got you the relic, and the ship didn't end up in the Mad Realm, which almost happened, where you wouldn't have had a relic and you wouldn't have had a ship. So I think we came out kind of net neutral on this one.
Let me ask you a question. How many of them were on that other ship?
Dozen.
I'm going to say 6. I don't care if it's 4. I'm saying it was 6.
Okay.
You should have seen that ship. It was crawling with those guys. A dryad burnt my testicles, Sal.
And
They're yelling.
he holds up a hand. Says, you said dryad. The hell's a dryad doing on a Sirlon ship?
I just told you she was burning my testicles, Sal.
You wait here. You wait here. He stands up with the docent. He leaves the booth and he goes to a back room. Now, as he does, the only other person left in this bar is the bartender, which, classic D&D, whether you're in space or in, Faerun, there's always a barkeep. And he's over there spitting in space mugs and cleaning it with his space rag and then putting it back on the space shelves. But in wanders this kid, and he is holding a Brawl Gazette. He's got one of those little pie hats on, and he goes up to the bar, and he hops up, and he orders mead. The bartender, even though this kid, it's a humanoid kid, he's probably no more than 12. Bartender slides a mead over to this kid. The kid looks over, sees the 3 of you sitting in the booth. He says, hey guys, gets up, takes a big swig of his mead, wanders over to you. He says, hey, you guys want to buy a Gazette? How long you been out? How long you been out there? There's a lot of news. And he holds up the Gazette there because he's got a stack of them. And he's brought one over and he says, the price on Beholder Eyes, market's doubled since the Honorable Merchants Guild put out a hit for them. They're getting double on every one of those Beholder Eyes out there. There's Lunar Dragon. They found a whole stash of antique Spelljammers. There's this fleet of Xenos. They found Kipos. They found Kipos. There's a new Godfall out there. And they got Kipos. They're not letting anyone near because, they're mind flayers. They're assholes. But Kipos herself, and he holds this Gazette up to you.
So I'm going to put my arm out and just be like, little child. And I'm going to reshape my face to kind of look like his face just for dramatic effect. And I'm going to grab a coin out of someone's got a bag of coins. I don't have anything on me. I'm just going to put a coin in his hand, take the thing and be like, thank you. Now get out of my face.
He's like, all right, cool, no problem. And he runs back over to the bar, finishes his mead in a swig, grabs his stack and runs back out. The page he has it unfolded to is, in fact, the page about the Xenos, or the Mind Flayers, that have found a godfall of Kipos. Now, a godfall is a dead god body in space. A godfall, much like a whalefall here, when the corpse of a god is found, there is still trace of arcane, divine, and just incredible energy. Even though they're a husk, there is life, there is power. Sometimes new magics, new creatures, new beings are found on these godfalls. So a godfall isn't just cool, it's a dead body. A godfall is a source of immeasurable wealth and power and influence. And anyone that controls a godfall or harvests or is able to claim a godfall becomes almost a lord in and of themselves immediately. They have a resource that is hard to find. Now, Kipos, as this article explains, was a goddess of agriculture and growth. Her realm was destroyed by the spell plague when she initially came to the astral plane. And the only reason this is a big deal is because there are several very successful realms that survived only because of Kipos and her divinity. She helped establish several realms and essentially save several planets and realities just with her divinity, but she hadn't been seen for an eon. So scholars are really excited, especially scholars from these places that she helped save and establish. However, these mind flayers have taken over and are apparently they're trying to claim it for themselves. Now, there's not a lot of other information about that specifically because, mind flayers are horrible brain-eating monsters, and anyone that gets close to them gets their brains eaten. So the only information they have is essentially that this fleet of Xeno ships is established at this godfall doing something. Sal comes from this back room, and he is holding this docent piece in front of him. Then he's holding it out in two hands, and he sits down and he says, all right, so listen, fellas, here's what we're going to do. Honestly, I don't care about you guys, but you're good at what you do. However, I had another side job go south, and those guys, they're a little more valuable, and they do a little bit more for me. I can't afford to let these guys take the fall on this. You know what I mean? So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to give you 24 hours to unfuck their fuck up. And if it doesn't happen, well, then you guys are going to take the fall. Now, I hate to say, because like I said, you're an asset, and I hate to burn someone like you guys, but if you don't do this, I do have a dead man trigger on this, so you can kill me, and it's still going to go off. My guys are going to come and take you. You, Mr. Goo Man, all that skimming you've been doing, well, that's coming back to the pot plus interest. How's that sound, fellas? I got one last job for you.
I don't like the way you said Mr. Goo Man.
It's the last day on the force.
All right, well, anyways, check this out. And he takes this artifact, right? And he says, I hate to do it to you guys, but we got to get it done. As he's talking, he pulls aside the shoulder of his cloak that he's wearing, and you see that he has exposed essentially a portion in his chest. Now, you also see another docent near that as well. Like, he has literally figured out a way to keep mounting these docents in him as a Warforged, and he plugs this docent in. And he says, but business is business, and I feel it. And he stops as this green energy overtakes him, and his head tilts back, and this white energy blows out from his mouth, and his eye is literally blowing a hole through the ceiling. And in this voice, the same voice that you heard on the ship, Avorn, now you were closest, so you could hear it talking to this other Surlon. But you hear in the same voice, only 10 times louder because you're standing right in front of it. It says, what once was void, now fertile soil, a fetid end to endless toil. 3 will come by chance or craft to claim a kingdom and release their past. And as it finishes, the light fades, and Sal explodes in vines and roots, and as it does, the docent on his chest explodes outwards, showering and piercing the 3 of you with pieces of it. It only takes a second to recover, but you notice this mass that Sal is now turned into is starting to pulse further out as well. And when you look down where the shards of this docent pierced you, as you look down, the shards have started to extract themselves and quickly float back together to reform this docent in front of you on the table, conveniently next to the key for the ink knight that is exploded off of Sal.
I grab the key as soon as I'm able to grab the key.
Perfect. The piercings where you see, and even for you, Mongo, some of these even manage to pierce the weaker points in your adamantium armor. But where you can see exposed flesh, there are runes and tattoos that look like vines that match the symbols on this docent thing have now essentially formed on your skin. And that's where you are. You realize that, well, Sal didn't tell you what this job is. Like, you had 24 hours. Sal didn't tell you what you were supposed to unfuck. However, at this same moment, Sprocket comes into the bar. He says, "Hey, boss, fuck." And exact same thing as when he came up on your ship earlier, a few days ago after fighting these Sirlons. "What the fuck happened?"
Grab him. Put a fucking hand over his mouth, Mongo.
No. He backs up. He's like, "It's cool. I don't care.
You fucked with us, and that's what fucking happens to people that fuck with us.
No. And he said, that's the thing on the ship. That's the thing on the Sirlon ship, right?"
Nope. That's what old Goopy McGee here did. That was all him. So, watch your ass.
You're leaving? You're going right now? Let's go, yeah?
I'll take
He
you
said we were supposed to unfuck something, but he didn't live long enough to tell us what we're supposed to unfuck. So do you know what we're supposed to unfuck?
No, I don't know all of Sal's business. I know what he lets me in on. I heard something went sideways, but...
Yeah, that. What was that?
I don't have any details.
Can I tell if he's lying?
Yeah. Insight?
14.
He is not lying. He doesn't know what happened.
I mean, obviously you have contacts here and you work for Sal. Can you find out what happened?
I can put something out, but we gotta go.
My worry is that, Biff, if we put this out there, there's going to be a fucking power vacuum. And right now, the three of us are in prime position to take that vacuum and become the new Sal. I don't think we want to put feelers out.
Well, Sprocket ain't gonna say that Sal's dead. Sprocket's gonna figure out what happened and went sideways with whatever's going on.
My question, though, I wonder, he loved docents so much. Did he have a docent himself that stored his own shit?
If he did, it's in this mass. You're going around, you're trying to see if maybe you can pry a docent out of whatever, and this guy's not there. But on the table in front of you is this paper. Now it's covered in goo and slime and bits of metal, but it is open to this story of the godfall of Kipos, the goddess of gardening and growth.
And that cool poem you had to talk about, like fecundity and rot and whatnot, so that makes sense.
Right. Someone give me a history or arcana.
This is Bongo's time to shine.
I got a 13 on arcana.
Cool.
And I have a
history or arcana, big man?
Well, history I got a +4, so
there you go.
Oh shit, 20.
Nice. This prophecy, this thing, this relic, this is Kipos, and it makes sense now. This detect magic that you cast that overwhelmed you so solidly, this vision that the three of you had. I don't know if you shared it with each other, but these runes that are now on your skin, and you realize you're really worried about whatever this Sal had on you, right? He's going to bury you with whatever this is. He wants you to do some job, but a godfall, it doesn't matter what he has on you or what he thinks he can get you to do. A godfall makes anything else inconsequential. A godfall makes you as powerful as the leaders of Brawl or even the realms in these planes that you travel to through the astral sea. If you are in fact the three that come by chance or craft to take this godfall, then it doesn't matter. You can claim and live however you want.
Let's get to getting.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean,
I guess let's go.
Is the ball the godfall? Was I half paying attention?
Yeah, you're drunk.
Yes, you were.
The godfall is literally a dead god, like the corpse is floating through the fucking space.
Gross.
And right now there's a bunch of weird squid horrors all over that shit. And so if we go there and we get the squid horrors away from that shit, and that becomes our creepy dead body of a god lady, then we're the cool crabs at the bottom of the ocean eating the dead whale.
Yes.
Metaphorically speaking.
So, Sprocket says, well, if we're going, can't do better than the Ink Knight, because he sees that you, Beth, have the key to the Spelljammer helm for the Ink Knight, and you guys take off to the dock. The Ink Knight is this squid ship. It is jet black. Even the small sails that come off of it are jet black. And looking at this thing, it has this like starry obsidian coating to it to make it even hard to see. If you were just looking out into the astral sea itself, it would be hard to actually even see this thing against the stars itself.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You guys get to this ship. Now, there are a few of Sal's guys there, and Sprocket says, hey, boss wants you guys to take care of the dragonfly. These guys fucked up. Go take care of that. I'll finish up here, but he wants some extra cargo going. That dragonfly come with us. And the other, I just did Sal's voice for Sprocket. The crew doesn't even question him. Sprocket has been around long enough that, all right, you're one of his right-hand men. So they hop off and run off to the other ship. Who is going to pilot this ship, the Ink Knight, and who wants to man some ballistas up top?
I mean, I have the key, so I'm going to start walking towards like the central controls.
Cool. So the helm itself is actually, you have a top deck, and then you have a slightly lower deck that has this, on this Ink Knight, on this ship, that opens out. Think kind of like the bridge on Next Generation, right? Except there's no window or screen there. It actually looks out onto the deck itself. And there's a helm, a floating helm, waiting for someone to sit in and control it.
Yeah, I don't even ask anybody. I just start walking towards it.
Now, because you and I are friends, Biff, I just want you to, I think you would know this from our travels, I do have proficiency in Spelljammer ships. If you want to take the helm, just go for it. You get my full support. Because I don't do well with charismatic people, so...
If you flex, I'll back off, is what he's saying.
Pretty much. Like, if you're like, I'm going to sit here, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I'll be over here.
I'm like, I think you guys like see me like weigh it out for a second. I'm like, well, I mean, it's a cool ship. It'd be fun to pilot, but I just like hand you the key. And because I just I've got like docet shards in me somewhere.
They have all pulled out. Even, here's the thing.
First.
Even your
Congratulations, Eric. You're not pregnant.
Keep trying, man. You'll get it. Practice.
Even though your skin is malleable and essentially fluid, you still have these runes and these sigils on your surface and even floating inside of you too.
Kind of like a Jello mold.
Yeah, kind of like an ambrosia salad of arcane energy.
Or an aspect.
Yeah. So I'm thinking like I'm handing the key off, and then I'm assuming that Mongo is going to go work ballistics because I don't know, my head of like big guns, hammer. I don't know. That's your thing.
Actually, you know what?
Japanese.
Well, Mongo, that makes sense because this ship I've decided has a spell cannon. So aside from the ballistas, something that's unique on this ship and some other higher end upgraded ships. It's a spell cannon, essentially a magnifier for an arcane or divine spellcaster to broadcast and amplify their own spells out as essentially siege weapons that can be used against other ships themselves as well. So while Firebolt is 2d10 against a creature, a Firebolt cast through a spell cannon triples to do more damage to a ship itself. So this does have a spell cannon as well as a ballista up on the front of this ship.
But wouldn't that make more sense for Biff, Mr. Spellman?
Yes, I made it because it sounds cool, and I want you both to have something that's cool.
My plan was like I was literally gonna go like study the runes that are on my body.
You can. I'm just saying there's also a weapon specifically for casters as well. So you guys, or rather, Born, you sit down in this helm, and it forms around you. It cups in all the right places. It heats and massages. It comes down and wraps around your shoulders to brace you. And as your hands lay on the armrest, you feel not really controls pop out. It conforms, and you can feel the ship essentially articulating with you as you can feel the limbs of it, and its functions become an extension of your own senses.
Like Flight of the Navigator?
Like Flight of the Navigator, yeah. What's the fastest any of you have ever gone?
I fucked on the first date.
Fuck off. Well, imagine that.
How I do.
Let's imagine fantasy fast, not sad New England fast. You punch the gas on this thing, the proverbial gas pedal. Now you're looking to make a quick getaway. This takeoff is fast enough that it blows the dock apart that you are at. It literally shatters it as you take off from 0 to essentially magic light speed. Just arcane force blows you out of this dock and out into the astral sea. What's great about the ship is as fast as you're going in this acceleration, the air bubble and gravitational plane that pops up is so quick that the two of you standing on the ship, not in the helm, don't even feel it. There is a moment of vertigo where literally everything becomes essentially blurred. The stars themselves are traveling so fast, they're, if noticeable at all, small streaks as you pass through this astral sea toward the coordinates of this godfall. Now, let me ask you, do you guys prepare for battle in any particular way? Do you have a personal custom or anything?
Get really scared, cast mage armor.
Okay. What about you, Samurai?
I think I eat a giant feast.
Ooh, I like it. There's the spell produce food is cast on, I'm going to go full sci-fi here, the Star Trek, the food generator in the cafeterias.
Now who's a nerd? I talk a little Street Fighter and I'm a nerd.
Yeah, that's because you don't play Star Trek. You watch Star Trek, nerd. So although you can play Star Trek, it's really fun. So you go to this machine and let me ask you, what is your feast? Because you guys, despite terrible rolls on Arcane and history in general, you guys know that mind flayers are in fact one of the most evil creatures in existence. They make beholders and others, even these Sirlons, pale in comparison to their depravity. They literally eat brains for fun and sustenance. So you are going into what you feel may be a glorious final last battle. What do you eat in this feast? Because this thing will make anything you want.
I don't think I want. Sketty?
Sketty.
You know what I'll say? You are going into a final battle, and usually it is, think like a Klingon meal, how they like to eat, but you always also crave a dish from the GIF homeworld, one that your mother used to make at feasts for your father and your uncles and your aunts and the family that were going to battle themselves. And it was this traditional home-style dish, and every GIF family had their own version of it. It's this plant from the GIF homeworld, because you're still, at the end of the day, a hippo man, right?
Anonymous, yeah.
Yeah. So it's this creek plant stew, almost like a cabbage broth, with these leeks that, unless you're literally trading with a GIF merchant or have them from the GIF homeworld, you haven't had them in years, but you think you try every time, and it produces it almost perfectly for you in this feast that you have. And of all the things you eat, this is the thing that makes you feel good about what you're about to do. Bith, you cast mage armor. Is it a nervous habit? Are you kind of like someone with a Zippo, flicking it on, off? Just,
I think, well, I mean, like, I guess you were saying, like, if we're going into battle, and I was thinking more like it's more imminent. Like, we were on the ship and something crashed into us, and I was like, oh god, mage armor. Otherwise, I think, like, I'm just, like, I would be reading books, I would be studying, I would be trying to figure out what's going on. I might go over to Mongo's giant feast, and I kind of just, like, collapse on part of the table, and then when I come back up, the food that was there is gone.
Careful, though. I'm, like, so ravenous, I might try to slurp you up by accident.
Ooh.
It's not the worst thing that's happened to me in my life.
No, keep going. Talk more about that.
Slowly.
you are digesting some food and feel a straw poke into you, and part of you get, like, and you have to suck it back down as you stand back up. Like, bro, hey.
Stop
what are you
it.
doing?
I mean, it's
so hard.
As a bonus action, I can make a protrusion from my body, so bring it on, Mongo. Let's do this.
What are you doing, Step Goo?
Don't know.
But yeah, I feel like if I know I'm going to be facing off against nightmare squid things, I'm probably going to, like, if there's anything on the ship that might give any insight.
We both could be dead tomorrow.
Again, I've made worse choices in my life. Like, my room's right over here. I can literally form myself to whatever shape makes you comfortable. So
we're going to fade to black on this. Abel. What are you
see
doing?
Mongo and Biff just slowly walking off down the hallway.
Now, what do? You're in the helm of this ship, and you have flown Spelljammers. You are, while you were raised by this hag, you have spent your life at this point out in the astral sea. You were in this ship that you never thought you'd get to pilot. You've been on it a couple times, but never at full speed, and you sure as hell have never been allowed to sit at the helm itself. What are you doing to prepare yourself mentally? Or, at one point you can put it on cruising because you've got some time to get to this place. What are you doing for yourself to prepare for what may eminently be real bad?
I don't think I really have a concept or fear of death. I think that's like a huge failing of mine. Like, so astral elves, when they're in the astral sea, they live forever. They're eternal.
Okay.
Immortal. They are. That's just how it is in the book. So read a book. Throughout the sea, they lived about 700 years. So right now, like, if I was smart, I would go out and get like a day job and just do nothing and just kind of live forever. And like, whatever happens, happens. Like, I can invest $1 now at 10%, and then in 40 years be a trillionaire. Like, it doesn't matter, But I don't want that. I want to be excited. I want to have fun. I want to go out and do cool shit. And I want to, get powerful enough to kill this fucking hag that kidnapped me from my parents back in the day. I'm doing like sick e-brake slides and loops and this shit. I'm doing fucking like space donuts. I'm just trying to have as much fun as I possibly can. And I'm trying to stop the noises coming out of the bunks from Goopy McGee and Mongo.
Okay.
I don't think it would make a lot of noise.
It would be a lot of like...
Nope, we're going to... Listen,
I think
I'm going to make a TM call here. We're going to...
What if they like put themselves in like a giant bathtub as liquid? And then the other person could like emerge in it, and it would be soothing. You know what I mean? Because it would be like a hot bath.
Like, what's in my mouth? What's in my butt? Like,
right, because you don't know, because it's everywhere.
Like, am I in your butt? It's all butts, man. Who knows?
Well, you don't have to go dirty with it.
This is
we fucking do. You've been on this podcast for over 2 years almost now. Like, yeah, we do, Richard. That's our goddamn brand.
If
we're not gonna have weird, if we're not gonna have space phone sex on this goddamn podcast, I don't want to do it anymore. I quit the podcast.
I'm just really excited that I came on this podcast and I got to have sex with Richard. Like, that's really just like a highlight for me.
Well, guys, for Obsidian Portal, I've been Conan. It's been great. Thanks.
I just think it'd be cool to have sex with a water person.
I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not going to say no.
Nate's still gone.
He's gone.
There he is.
We killed him.
I'm back, but it's under protest. Fuck you both.
Great.
I said
all
both.
Right.
There's 3 of you. Figure it out who I picked.
Okay. So, you all have made your way, to the edge of this cluster where this godfall is. As you come out of essentially arcane warp drive, you slow, and the sight before you is intimidating. The astral sea around you is in fact littered and covered, dotted everywhere throughout the sky with these ships of the mind flayers, these huge cephalopod ships that look like squids with hardened shells. Some of them much smaller, maybe the size of your ship, and some of them looking to be almost the size of small moons. It is literally the most ships you have ever seen in one place. In the center of this field of ships is the Godfall itself. It is the Dryad that you saw on the ship. It is the Dryad you saw in your dreams, floating miles long. And you can even see where, from the bridge of your ship and the deck of your ship, where her chest is not solid like the rest of her, this peaceful, almost sleeping Dryad, but this green shimmering energy. And you can see, even from where you are, this huge distance away, the gleam of gold and precious metal that rises from a temple underneath the protective dome that rests within her chest. The ship itself, you're at the helm, Avorn, you could tell is responding to all of these other ships, and it is almost twitching, and you realize that this ship itself is excited for this. You are not going to be able to fight all of these ships. There's no way, as hardy as your ship is, but as you're gripping the helm in this Spelljammer pilot seat, as the two of you at your spell cannon and your ballista grip on to the firing mechanisms, you realize that as many ships as there are, you're fucking faster than every one of them. And if you can get to this thing, then you can make it.
Is there anything I can do to increase the stealth of it as we go super cool fast? Fantasy warp speed.
I'm going to have you give me vehicle proficiency. I'm going to have Mongo. I want you to think about, because you're a tactician, you're a warrior, you're a brute. I'm sure you have been on missions where you were trying to sneak up on an enemy or into a territory. And Biff, I want you to think arcane that either you have or something that would make sense. There's a small library, just like there was on your ship, that you've said you've been studying books for the last several days, just in general, and the time you spent to get out here. What would you guys want to do to prepare to try to make it through?
Mongo, you first, go.
I would like to use Sprocket somehow as a distraction.
Okay.
I wanted to kill him before we even left, and I never got a chance to. Just don't like him.
He's been nothing but helpful. What the fuck?
Hold on. Who are you distracting? You're just going to yeet him off the back of the Spelljammer?
If I can throw him toward the other ships somehow, like shoot him out of a space rocket.
Okay.
And then all their attention will be turned on to him.
You can't just add space before shit and have it make sense in this fucking system. I know
That's
that's what Conan's been doing.
That's what.
Oh, he's at a space bar. He's polishing space glasses.
Trousers. He got this fucking space hamster and a space dick. Like, what the fuck? Leave Sprocket alone, you goddamn bully.
I don't like him. I haven't from the start. I don't trust him. We didn't like Saul, right?
Well, no, and he blew up and he deserved it. Fuck
okay, he's the second in command, so he should be the second to get blown up.
He's not second in command. He's a peon like the rest of us. He's a useful tool. He's a doctor. I have cure light wounds like 2 fucking times. If you get into this shit, you're gonna want him to sew your balls back up and shit, man.
All right, tell you what. How about Bith? What do you got? Since these two numbskulls,
Well, I guess my first question is, during the traversing in between fucking Mongo, did I actually do any research and acquire any information?
Yes, it's been a long time, so it didn't take that much of your time.
Whoa.
The deep and unending love that Mongo and I have developed over the past 3 to 4 days.
You don't understand, when liquid people what are they called? Cephalopods, what are they called?
I'm a plasmoid.
A plasmoid. When plasmoids make love, it's a whole body experience. We're literally of 2 bodies.
That's a lot of fingers you got up there. That's all.
I can make extras. It's fine.
Exactly.
When 2 become some other number.
You know what it looked like when I came? It was remember when Neo came out of the pot?
No. Tell me more about what it looked like when you came.
God.
Anyways, did I get any sort of knowledge from the research in the downtime while I was smoking and recovering?
Are you looking for knowledge?
Past this whole what it looked like when he came.
I swear to God, I will crush this ship right now.
Did you know hippo milk is pink? Because it is.
Are you looking for information on the? What are you?
I was looking for information on these night terror squid things, the mind flayers.
Okay, on the mind flayers themselves.
Yeah, I would have started there because they're the immediate obstacle I knew we would have been trying to deal with.
Sure, mind flayers themselves are like the Sirlons. They are psychic, essentially entities. They're these squid things that survive and are born by placing their essentially tadpoles in other creatures' heads, and that's what turns something into a mind flayer. They are cowards. So while these ships are full of mind flayers, they're not going to jump down onto your ship until they know they 100% have won. Mind flayers in general are not shock warriors. There are experiments and shock troopers and creatures that they make and experiments they do. But a mind player itself is not going to put itself in immediate danger unless it knows it will be victorious. The ships themselves are vicious. They, just like a mind player, will try to grab you and suck your brain out. A ship will try to grab and latch on to you.
So basically, we have to go super fast, and kind of what Aborn was saying of like, how can we be stealthy and get past everybody quickly? So because otherwise they're gonna smack us and slow us down.
Right. If you can figure out a way to, I guess, dampen your psychic energy would be something to consider. I'm just throwing things out. Make yourself less visible to somebody who is psychic. They're using senses beyond just their eyes. I will say that.
How can we numb our brains?
Drugs. There are plenty of drugs on the ship. I will say, what did you do, Avorn? What did you get on like vehicle proficiency?
I was going to ask you what stat I used for that.
I'm going to say intelligence.
I was worried it was charisma because not my fucking suit. Whew. It's a 14?
You know what? That is good enough. The Ink Knight is a squid ship. I will say that because it's fashioned after a squid, it does have a special cloak that you can use to get you at least partially there. Essentially, it's going to cloud your immediate area. You'll be able to see, but other ships will not. The problem is that once you do it, they will know something is there. You are just moving through essentially obscured space. Does that make sense? If someone throws a smoke grenade in, someone threw a smoke grenade. You can't see them, but there is someone obviously threw a smoke grenade. It's that sort of thing.
Makes total sense. What if I bounce a tachyon particle beam off the main reflector dish?
If you can tell me how that went, I'll give you advantage.
Well, how the tachyons are all
bullshit. No
beam, then there's a dish, right? And it's the main one. It's the best.
I'm gonna give you disadvantage for running your mouth out of place.
God damn it. Okay, well, hold on.
Are you looking up tachyon breams now?
No, I don't know what bream is. A fish. There's a fucking time fish. Fuck you, Zach. Eat shit. I played Animal Crossing. I know what breams are. I didn't do good. But go ahead.
Here's what's going to happen. We're going to treat this like a gauntlet. If you're going to get there, you guys start moving, and I'm going to ask for some rolls as you move. How's that sound?
It's awesome.
That's fair.
Awesome.
But so if we didn't take the drugs?
You can.
I thought that was a solid plan, man.
I just threw it out.
What are the drug options?
Oh my god! I
work on goop. Fuck off.
I even just threw that.
Actually,
out
that's actually true.
Yeah.
Actually, wait a minute. We gotta clear our mind, right?
Post-nut clarity? Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I was just saying, when do you think the most clearly, right? You don't have all this stuff in your head.
When you're feeling ashamed about looking at a granny porn.
I'm not ashamed. I don't have that stress anymore. I'm sure stress.
Anyway, Conan, what were you saying about the drugs?
I had something. Now all I've got is space weed. All right.
Weed, we call it.
That's what you got.
Add space promotion. There's a lot to limit to it. God damn it.
Conan will never run a game for us ever again. We've broken him. In certain ways, I've also broken Mongo, so that's fine.
We've broken him in. Now he's like
Mongo,
a soft battle,
Mongo can take it. I got news for you.
Do not underestimate me, sir.
Mongo is a big hippo man.
He can make protrusions. He didn't say how long. But the fucking movie 7.
All right.
That,
tell you what happened. It is now hour 23 and 45 minutes. All right, on this dead man trigger, you got to get moving.
Conan's done with our fucking hippo cum talk.
All right. So the first thing we're going to start with is a ship handling by the pilot.
That's me.
All right, I'm going to be set up at the spell gun thing.
Okay.
16.
What do you got? 16. All right. So at a 16, you these outer perimeter. If I was cool, I'd have like music playing. Is that like like you're just getting through the gauntlet. You're darting in and out. You make it past the initial essentially perimeter of patrolling illithid ships, right? These large cochlear ships with these tentacles out. I will even say at a 16, they don't even see you yet. You are blending in. There's not as dense a pack of ships yet. You're going to get to add a D4 to this next roll as well for your next ship handling.
It's a 9. I didn't
Great.
Well.
So you have made it through this perimeter when all of a sudden a huge harpoon slams into the deck of the ship, and you realize that one of these ships has spotted you. You hear a sound since you're in the pilot seat. This light starts flashing in your peripheral, and you hear this pulsing sound. And you know what that means. There is a signal going out. There is some sort of transmission going out to the field of these other ships. And what I'm going to roll is a bunch of dice. Your ship has 300 hit points. You are going to take 50 damage to the ship as this harpoon slams into it. I need another handling check as well. Now, the two of you on these ballista and this spell cannon, Spelljammer does actually have mechanics for these that take X number of turns to do this, X number of people to do that. I'm not going to fuck around with all that because that's a lot of work and we're trying to keep it quick and easy. What I will say is that depending on some of these rolls that come up, or if you can think of something to aid, you can add a D4 to his rolls. So if there's a spell you can think of, if there's something you'd want to do as far as tactically, Mongo, whatever you guys can think of, I'll let you add a roll to his piloting check. Or Avorn, if you could think of something, I'll let it add to yourself as well. Just gonna roll it flat?
I mean, I don't really have any applicable skills.
Okay.
My edgelord character is good at stabbing things and being sad and mopey.
Cool. Well, then roll me a ship handling or vehicle proficiency.
I have dark vision. Space is very dark. Does that do anything?
No.
Oh.
Fuck you for saying it.
Oh, that's fair. That's a 12.
Cool. As you dart through, you are hit again, but it's not a hit from a harpoon. Instead, this capsule slams into the deck and it pops open. It's made of this shell of some sort of web and egg bound together. And as it cracks open, a giant space hamster pops out. It's about 6 feet tall. However, this thing is not adorable because on its face are 4 cephalopod tentacles grafted and grown from its mouth. And it rears up with these elongated claws and screams this horrible, both audible and psychic scream. We're going to roll initiative.
How can we hear it if it's in space?
Because there's an air bubble.
Yeah, he went over that an hour ago. God damn.
I don't remember what he did 5 minutes ago.
That's fair.
Wow, Eric.
Let's get initiative.
22!
22.
Because I have advantage on initiative checks. Sex?
There it is.
Facts.
Mongo, what you got?
So 6.
Hey, you both got it. So Eric goes first there, though, because he's got a higher dex. I can't take the DM hat off. I'm sorry, Conan.
That's all right.
You don't get to say it's all right.
Eric,
I get to say that.
Eric can go first again.
All right.
Eric always finishes first.
Avorn, it is.
No, I start first.
Very fair.
We had different goals, Eric.
Avorn, you are first. Now, if you leave the helm, it will go on autopilot, but you'll be at a negative D4 to your next piloting check if you get up and then get back in. You can also make another piloting check to keep moving through this gauntlet.
I'm going to do a barrel roll and press A to shoot.
Oh, okay. Some deft maneuvers. Here's what I'll say. I will grant you advantage on this roll, but if you fail it, something bad is going to happen to you.
It's par for the course. Let's do this.
And Flippy will die.
Who will die?
Isn't that the name of the frog?
Yeah. Fine.
All right. I rolled a 15, which is an 18, and a 12, which is a 15. So 18.
18?
Mm-hmm.
18 is good enough. You get through it. You manage to avoid these nautiloid ships. These Mind Flayer ships are now starting to not just fire these harpoons at you, but are now literally both chasing and trying to intercept you. After that is the space hamster, which, by the way, it added space in front of hamster in the book already, but I'm calling it a cephalohamster, and he is going to come at. I'm going to split it. Oh no, Bith, he comes at you.
Nice. Second.
Hey, that's
TH.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Or you can call me by my Christian name, which is Bith Gordlix.
Space Jesus. I'm a space Christian. I worship the space Lord.
He manages to get a bite on you, and you are going to take 4 points of damage.
Space damage.
So it doesn't count.
And you are now grappled as it is wrapped its tentacles around the top of your head, and you can feel that it is like starting. There's inside these tentacles is this beak, and it's starting to scratch at what on any normal creature would be the top of your skull. So after that is your turn.
Can you put your brain in your foot?
Well, he doesn't have a brain. This thing picked the worst target to try to suck a brain out of.
Fucking ape.
Yeah, I don't. I'm literally just a blob.
Nice.
Right.
Good for you, buddy.
Also, my favorite thing is in the Spelljammer book, there's a picture of the plasmoid riding a space hamster.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Are you going to Legolas this thing?
Yeah, this kid literally got a bow, just like riding a space hamster.
Cast us one.
Question: would I know anything about the space hamster's ability to be
Seduced.
feared, frightened, scared? What do I know anything about this creature to know how I could impact it?
I'm going to say give me a nature, or I don't know if dungeoneering is still a thing. It's a monstro. Okay, so give me a nature or history. History is a good catch-all as far as I'm concerned when it comes to Spelljammer or realm stuff.
Okay. You couldn't give me a nice arcana or religion.
You know what? Magical.
Well, I'm thinking would I know if my spells could impact the thing? Was my logic on that?
I will say yes, your spells would be able to impact it. Now, you don't know exactly what else may have changed, because usually mind flayers haven't grafted, mind flayer things onto space hamsters, but yeah, your spells are still going to affect it.
I'll do my thing and we'll see what happens. You'll see my thought process in a second here. So I'm going to use fear. So I'm going to project a phantasmal image of the creature's worst nightmare.
Big cat. Space cat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Space cat with giant claws and I don't know, more tentacles, because tentacle on tentacle. Let's just go all in on that. It has to make a wisdom saving throw of 15.
Oh, it fails hard. So it is now afraid, right?
Yeah, so while frightened by the spell, a creature must take the dash action and move away from you by the safest route on each of its turn, unless there is nowhere to move. If it's end its turn in a location where it doesn't have line of sight of you, the creature can take another wisdom saving throw, and then if it's successful, it is done. But as long as it can see me, it is afeared.
This thing lets go of you immediately as a free action, and it is now Mongo's turn.
I want to shoot the space hamster with my space ballista and space kill it.
This guy gets it.
So what do I draw? Just a regular D20 for ballista?
It's on your sheet. You have a specific ballista attack.
What? No, I don't.
That's a
Oh,
lie.
this poor man. He's had it hard enough as it is.
Nate, help me.
You have no ballista attack. He's fucking with you.
Why would you do such a thing?
What do you want it to be, like a dexterity attack with a ballista? He's not throwing the fucker.
No, but maybe it's really hard to squeeze.
I will say,
Oh, that's what it is.
I want you to give me the ballista is going to have its own, and I guess I hadn't thought about the mechanics. So I'm going to say this ballista is going to get an automatic +5. So go ahead, swivel this thing around, and you're going to make a dex attack, and then add your proficiency modifier to it.
So you're gonna roll with a +2, +7, +5 from the thing, and then +2.
No, my proficiency bonus is a +3.
Yeah, -1 for your dexterity is a +2,
So
2
+2.
+5 is 7, like I said before.
All right, and I say it like that.
Fucking space asshole.
So 7 and 8, as we all know, is a 15.
You skewered this thing. This 3-foot-long spiked ballista missile.
Space battle.
Go ahead and roll me 8d10.
Space D10.
8 D10s.
Yeah.
Like
Or
a D10,
roll-
right? Like a budget.
Roll a d10 and then multiply it.
Unless it fucking sucks, and then you roll a D10. 8 times 10 is...
No, that's it. I was looking for my 10s.
Yeah.
All right.
Carry the 4.
It's a 1.
I said roll it again like I
Keep rolling it.
And another 1.
2. Keep
God
going.
damn it.
12. That's 14.
14. Keep going.
Did you roll a 12 on a T10?
9.
Wait.
Don't ask questions.
I did say it was a space T10, so it's not Euclidean dice.
I
so.
I don't think
It's an 8! Silent! Never mind. It's not worth me yelling. It's not helping. It's not instructive to yell.
It's like one of these.
It's 2 pyramid. That's a D10, right?
Yeah, it is a 8 D10.
8
Yep,
D10.
exactly.
Yeah, this is a D10. I was showing him what it looks
You did
like.
a great job, Eric. This is a space D10.
Yeah, no, that's an 8.
That's an 8. You can tell because it only has 8 sides.
But that's a 12 apparently. Oh, wait a minute.
Yes.
Yes.
Yay!
Jesus
Yeah!
Christ.
I don't do
Great
dice.
success!
All right, starting from scratch.
Okay.
An 8.
Right.
So that is,
A 3.
we'll multiply that times, yeah.
80.
11 times 4 for the median. You get 44 damage.
You skewer this thing, and it hits it, like it backs off of your friend, so it lets out the shriek, backs off as you swivel around, and you hit this thing so hard that it leaves the deck and floats off into space.
Can I say, keep away from him, you bitch?
Yes.
Okay.
We are going to go with another ship handling. This time, the DC has gone up because there are more ships, there are more of these things chasing you and trying to intercept you.
Okay. So, is it still an advantage, though?
No, this one's not an advantage. The last one was because you were pulling a tactic.
Okay. So I'm just like gunning it with my
Yep.
1 die, and it's just plus my proficiency modifier at this point.
Or your, vehicle proficiency. Yeah.
Yeah, that is a 12.
Great. I need everyone to give me a reflex or a strength save, a dex or a strength save.
19.
Nice.
Dex save, because that's where I'm a Viking.
So on my strength save, I got a 15, but using my hippo build, if I have advantage on strength saving throws.
So roll it twice, take the higher.
No, well, listen what I'm going to tell you before.
Okay.
How dare you?
So I count as a large creature when determining how much. No, that doesn't really help me in this situation.
Let me tell you this real important fact that is not applicable at this time.
Though.
Okay, what's your number? 15?
15.
15, 19. Nate, what'd you get?
18, buddy.
18. Great. So you try this barrel roll again because it worked so well the first time.
I should do a barrel roll. That's a good trick.
And they already saw it, so they're like, this motherfucker. And yep, you do another barrel roll, and you barrel roll onto the outreached spikes of one of these Nautiloid ships. Your ship takes 80 damage, and the 3 of you all take 12 damage as you still cut it in half, but the whole ship literally smashes a huge gouge out of it, and you are battered against the ballista and the mage cannon and the deck itself as you hang on. Even you in your chair, Avorn, are just rocked hard by this hit.
Now that's what I call pod racing.
Wizard.
At this point, you guys only have...
Space wizard. Sorry, go ahead.
You have...
Jedi is a space wizard.
Yeah, pretty much.
You guys are almost to this godfall. And you can see as you have gotten closer now, it's about a mile up from this godfall. There are none of these ships any closer than a mile to the surface of this godfall. They've surrounded it, they're patrolling it, but there are no ships there. So I need one last roll, and you better make it good.
Is that from me?
Yes.
Oh, beans. Oh,
Now that's from you. I also need from the 2 of you, because as you have gotten closer, they have swarmed. So I need each of you, if you're going to fire a ballista or a spell, you guys tell me what you're doing to ward off or keep off these ships that are trying to essentially swarm up and block your path.
Part of me wants to cast another fear and just have it be hovering above our ship, as a deterrent to things coming near us. They see it, they're like, fuck off, and they leave.
I
don't know if the range would work on that.
the range would be fine, but you are up against psychic fear monsters from the realm of madness.
Yeah,
Probably.
I'll just shoot them with the fire thing, with the ballista.
Okay, what spell are you casting through your amplifier?
I mean, let's
Go big, Home Slice. Like, they have swarmed in front of you.
It's the last play of the session, dude.
Yeah, I'll just have to do the firebolt because my other one, like, I don't have a big combat one at the uppest. Like, I have magic missile, but that's kind of dumb. So we'll do firebolt.
No, you won't. You cast magic missile.
Amazing. I'll cast magic missile. It succeeds and it hits.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, not only does it succeed and hit, but how many missiles does magic missile usually fire?
Hold on, let me look because it's when I cast at the upper levels, it does more.
Yes.
So 2 additional. So it normally if I cast it third level, it'll be five bolts.
So I said this thing triples the power, right?
So 15.
You take a second and you channel magic missile, you Hadouken magic missile into this, what looks like almost like a periscope in front of you with this horn that flares out to essentially catch arcane and divine energy. And these 15 huge ballista missile sized magic missiles fire out of your spell cannon and plow into these ships. How much damage do they usually deal?
1d4 plus 1.
Go ahead, roll a d4 and then multiply it by 5.
I rolled a 3, so 15.
There you go. As you pepper this swarm in front of you with this empowered magic missile, and you are sending crew, and you see all these space hamsters, these illithid hamsters on the decks of these ships loading into these pods that you're blowing away off the decks. And these ships are scattered and broken in front of you. Mongo, what are you doing?
This ball, what we got? What is that again?
What?
The ball?
Yeah.
So the space hamster came out of this, like, shell ball thing.
No. The
relic?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
It's in my pants, again, just to be clear on this.
All right.
You have the relic that is some sort of piece. I mean, you tell them, what do you guys think this relic is?
Basically, it's what's Moana, the heart of...
Tafiti.
Yes.
Okay, so the heart of Gaia.
Why do I know that?
Because you have children. You've seen the movie 100 fucking times.
And it still gets better
It's so
every
good,
time. Right? Make way!
Listen, you put me on a time limit, and then you're pulling this Moana shit.
You got 4
right?
minutes! Wrap it up, B.
So I'm assuming it's the heart of Tafiti, or whatever her name was.
Tafiti. Don't tell yourself, you got it right.
Keepa.
But my thought was I stuff it in my space ballista and shoot it back into her chest, but that would only wake her up and revive her, I'm imagining.
Yeah, it's going to reset her health bar and get her ultimate form.
Right, and I don't want to do that because I want her power for myself.
Well, try it, shoot it. What's the worst that can happen? It's a one shot. Fuck you, go for it. Reach into my pants, grab my fucking space cock ring,
and shoot it on her chest.
Yeah, blast my goo all over her chest.
You know what? When he says it like that. So I'm going to grab the relic and I'm going to put it into the barrel of the ballista.
Oh.
This is my dick first by accident.
Using like gunpowder and like a ramrod.
Right.
Well, hold on. That's great because GIF have like a fucking like racial ability to be good at guns stuff.
They do.
Like, I fucking love that for you.
That is.
That.
It's true.
I didn't even put that on his character sheet because I was like, he's never going to fucking use that part. Like, that's stupid.
So you take the handle of your maul and you cram this relic down, and
that's my ramrod.
You load extra
space powder.
Thank you, into the ballista. And you ram this relic down in there.
No, but you know what I got to do? I have to light it like it's a fuse, like it's an old timey cannon.
Yeah.
Like I got to have like a cigar or something.
It's just been revoked.
You're right. So I have like a big like Arnold stogie, and I use that to light it. Yeah.
Make a ranged attack at your +7. You were just essentially shooting it at the Godfall of Keepa.
Natural 20.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Wish I was, baby.
Great.
Yes. This is game.
So, as you are loading this relic, it is heating in your hands, and you see the runes and sigil that was, where you saw it on any exposed skin, have started to creep along your armor as well. And the three of you all look down and see the same thing. And this green energy is tracing in these sigils along your skin and inside of you, Biff. And as you grab hold of the ballista, it's not that you're firing, it's that it's an extension of you. You're not even trying to make a shot, you're just sending it back. And as you fire, it's a perfect shot. It doesn't come close to anything, and it rockets down past all the debris, through all these ships, space hamsters, mind flayers, cephalopod ships, and perfectly into the heart of this green bubble on this godfall. And for a moment, everything is still. And then that white light pours out of the suddenly open eyes and mouth of this godfall. And these huge vines and roots rise out of the body miles long and begin destroying every ship it can reach, literally crushing them, wrapping them, exploding them in this astral sea. And it becomes an ocean of death and destruction as Keepa awakens and takes revenge on these abominations here in the astral sea. And as you watch this forest of nature destroy these ships around you, one comes out and wraps around your ship and pulls it down to Keepa herself. And it pulls it fairly quickly. It lands and cracks. You hear this whole crack as it lands hard. The three of you buckled to your knees, and you feel Avorn, the helm itself, essentially shorts out and goes dead. And as you recover yourself, you see, standing on the bow of your ship, what looks like the Dryad you've now seen a couple times, but she is made of stone and earth. She's not quite the same. She almost looks like a facsimile of this Dryad that you've seen. And she says, "You have come. You are here to claim your kingdom. Yes?"
Yeah, sounds right. Yeah, yes, of course.
She reaches inside of her and she pulls out the relic that Mongo you fired into her, and she holds it up. And as she does, the three of you feel and see the sigils start to expand and grow as roots and vines grow out of you. And the ship is pulled down into the earth. And as you look around, you see on this surface are those same arcane circles that was on that Surlon ship at the beginning. And huge gouges have been taken out of the earth around these circles, like something has scooped pieces out of this earth. And there are broken Mind Flayer ships and Surlon ships all over the surface here, littered around these arcane circles. And as your ship is absorbed down into the ground and you touch it, you feel something too. The three of you all feel these limbs. You can feel the power of Keepa as she destroys these cephalopod ships, as she smashes these mind flayers, and you can feel the rage. You've been asleep for so long. You have been gone. You have been less than you are until now, with your heart restored, with your energy, with the three here now. Well, there are no more three. There is Keepa, and you have come and reclaimed your kingdom. Your past is gone. You need it no more, as you are awakened finally in your kingdom here in the Astral Sea. And Pot of Blunders, just like I promised, you're all dead.
Yay! Excellent fucking job, Conan. Hell yeah. We spelled the fuck out of that jam.
Yeah, there's plenty of jamming. I meant spells mostly, but you guys were a lot of jamming, if nothing else. There was some jamming.
I felt like there was a serious amount of jamming.
Yeah.
Conan, man, that was fucking... I feel like if you had ever played Spelljammer, never heard anything about Spelljammer before, you fucking grok it entirely now. Like, that was excellent. Great job, dude.
I appreciate it. It was fun. There were a couple things. It's been a while since I ran Spelljammer, so there were a couple things that if I were to run this as a longer campaign, more than a one-shot, I would develop a little more.
Big deal. Anybody could do it. You just take regular D&D and you add space in front of everything. Big deal, Conan.
I'm excited for next week when Richard is going to run Spelljammer.
Whoa.
Yeah.
We're still waiting for Richard to figure out what game he wants to run for us, so it'll happen.
Well, I could tell you were struggling. There was no Jenga Tower deck of cards tonight, so it was really fucking difficult.
I had to use dice. I had to figure out what a D10 was.
You had a character sheet with more than 3 stats. What the fuck was that?
Well, Nate made it for me.
Yeah.
Now, I want to be known that I wrote, like, okay, Richard, here's your ideal round. Like, here's how you do the most shit possible in this one
Never
fucking
came
round.
up.
Did not come up. For no fault of my own.
But I knew all that stuff about the hippo guns.
Yeah.
Through fucking, like, some kind of weird, I don't know, osmosis.
Dude,
Like,
I was pretty fucking
Zach
proud of
and I
myself.
knew it, so you knew it by fucking default.
I was pretty fucking proud of myself when I got a crit, and I was like, actually, though?
Yeah, I got the nerd actually.
Yeah,
It's my favorite actually.
I pointed up my imaginary glasses.
Actually.
Literally, the final fucking roll, the money shot, and you 20'd it is amazing.
You couldn't write that shit.
Yeah, that was
So good.
there was something about a well-timed 20 that
Which
makes...
doesn't matter because we all die.
Yeah,
But
but
we
it was...
died anyway. At least we get like a nice, like...
Yeah. We went to, like, nerd heaven.
Yeah. It was... so I want to say... This was awesome, and I really appreciate you guys playing. It's been a while since I ran 5e, actually. I was really excited. I mean, I'm a big Spelljammer fan, so the fact that you guys said, come on and do this, I really appreciate the chance to get to run a game. A, in general, but B, for you guys, for the show. All dick jokes aside, I really appreciate the opportunity to both be here and to be able to, make content and do something like this. I really do appreciate it.
Look, man. Like, you've run games for us before. You've been on some of our bullshit where we did a Valentine's Day game before. Like, we know the quality of stuff you do. We trust you. Take the show and run with it. Like, you're good. And you make quality shit, and I love you.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Nate loves you.
I space love you, Zach.
I space love you too.
And Conan, for real though?
Yeah.
Eat space shit, Conan.
Can I know last time you cut me off, can I do a little, hey, I'm Conan for this thing?
He'll edit it out, but go ahead.
You try it.
There's always an opportunity to say some shit. But...
One blurb, yes?
Yeah,
One blurb.
Go ahead. Richard,
I just set him up though, like, hey Conan, where can people find you?
I know, you're going to...
Hey, Conan, where can people find Space Conan?
So I am Conan_Librarian on Twitter.
All right, so that's all it is for today for Pot of Blunders.
Obsidian Portal, check it out, it's great. And buy my game, and no, you got anything?
Where can people buy this game?
Fuck.
Leave us all.
Try to fucking
I don't know what kind of a
date
piece of shit Conan is. Hey, thanks for your help today, bud.
Yeah, Conan Librarian, a great campaign management website. I'm a content creator. You can buy my game that has been here on the Pot of Blunders.
You just said your fucking website, man.
What did I say?
You said I'm a Conan Librarian. I'm a great content management website. And for the Pot of Blunders, may all your D's be 12.
And let him do it for real, man. He turned into a pumpkin after 11. Come on, try it.
I just like he's the sober one out of this crew right now.
This was a Coca-Cola, and this was a one beer. I'm good.
This is my stack of beers.
Oh, I had like 2 beers and I took an edible like 20 minutes ago. So.
I took 7 and I don't care, but none of y'all.
This has been 7% Moscato the whole time.
You basic bitch.
Hey,
It's
like
delicious.
Moscato.
It's
What, a
peach.
fucking round of
Delicious.
Riesling? I said fucking peach Moscato. You're
All right.
the whitest
Where's your
girl
fan?
here.
All right, listen. I'm gonna do my thing. You're gonna shut the fuck
Okay,
up.
try it.
I am Conan Librarian. You can find me on Twitter at Conan_Librarian. I'm a content creator and emissary for Obsidian Portal, a campaign management website. Great site. Go check it out. Your party doesn't stay at the tavern. Why should your game just stay at the table? I'm a content creator. You can buy my game Corner Office that's actually been here on Pot of Blunders on itch. I'm going to demand that they drop the link somewhere in the show notes, motherfuckers. And again, I just want to say thank you very much for this opportunity, guys.
Wow.
See how like good that one was?
That was Richard. You're fired. I mean, you please still edit shit. But wow. Well, hey, Eric.
Hey,
You want to talk
How
about
about
your-
you?
Do you want streams?
I can be found on Twitter at eCrumRyan, ECRUMRINE. I'm also on Twitch, where you can find me as Falcon Wizard. And I have a website as well, which is www.ecrumryan.com.
And that does it for this week. Yeah, listening back on this, I realized that I am obnoxious. And this isn't an apology. I'm just stating the obvious. Anyway, if you want to continue to support the Pot of Blunders, please keep listening to us. Leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or the podcatcher of your choice. And if you're feeling really generous, you can always come over to patreon.com/potofblunders, all one word, and kick some money at us, keep the lights on for us, help us buy these cool games, and support indie authors. $1 a month gets you access to our Patreon-exclusive podcast, Jumping the Street Sharks, in which Richard and I will watch an episode of The Street Sharks, everyone's favorite 1994 terrible Ninja Turtles clone, and we'll watch the episodes, we'll review them, and we will tell you all about the happenings of 1994. And if you go above the $1 level, then you can get things like being gene slammed on our Street Sharks podcast. You can join us on an episode. You get exclusive access to certain rooms in our Discord. All that lovely stuff. And just, above all else, the warm, fuzzy feeling you get by doing something good and helping out little indie content creators like us and all of our buds. But really, I'm more than happy if you just keep listening to us because I love doing the show. And I love you, listener. Yeah. And for the Pot of Blunders, I've been Nate Magnuski, and as always, may all your D's be 12s. Goddamn car just drove by. Fuck it, good enough. Bye!